Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. So lately I've been seeing a ton of trying new videos pop up on my subscription feed, which I love those type of videos, and it makes sense because there's been a ton of launches recently, especially from the drugstore. And I genuinely love consuming that content, learning the tea about new products, if they're good, if they're worth it or not. I myself put up a trying new makeup video a couple of videos back. So like, I love those type of videos. However, inflation is real. And life is expensive, and not that this applies to everyone watching, but this is very applicable to my life currently. Having a baby is expensive. So I figured we would just kind of sit down, do a full face of nothing new, appreciate the makeup that we already own, that we already spent our hard-earned money on. So that's what we're going to be doing here today, a full face of nothing new. If you like this video while you're watching it, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. It really does help my channel out. And other than that, if you're excited and you want to see what old goodies I decided to play with today, let's go ahead and get started. For the palette I chose, quite a few of you guys have asked me in the past to do a 1 week 1 palette on this, and I just genuinely don't think that I would be good at that with this palette. Only, like, how do I explain this? I just don't think that I like it enough to do a 1 week 1 palette on it, and it's a Sigma New Mod palette. Maybe I should, and then it would help me like fall in love with this palette, but I was like so pumped to buy this a couple months ago, and since then I have hardly reached for it, and whenever I do reach for it, I don't enjoy my time making my eye look, and I don't really love my eye look afterwards. So I just don't know if Sigma's eyeshadow formulation is for me. I have this one and the Enchanted palette, right? Enchanted, I think that's what it's called. And I just don't really love both of them, unfortunately. We're gonna start off with this shade right here, which this one is called New Mod, which is what the palette is called. I just feel like, well, maybe not. I was just about to say, I feel like every eyeshadow that I apply from Sigma palettes turn up darker on my eyelid than in the pan. And then that just always kind of throws me off. I'm probably not gonna do a 1 week 1 palette on it, but let's go ahead and show it today for you guys. And also, I haven't reached for it in quite a while. Okay, so that color is nice. It blended out nicely, a little bit patchy, but that always happens. I'm not too concerned about that. We're gonna go in next to this shade right here called Edgy, and we're gonna pop that on the outer corner and also up into the crease. It's not really Sigma's mattes though that I don't enjoy. It's really their shimmer formulation. So I'm sure, yeah, like that's going on fine as well. Okay, I just watched like all the shimmers and I really don't want to use like any of them. They're just not the tones I prefer, and also a lot of them just show up so much darker, I feel like, on my skin or like a finger swatch than in the pan. So that's just a little bit of a bummer. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put NYX glitter primer all over the empty portion of my lid, and I'm gonna go in with this avant-garde shade right here. It has a little bit of blue shift to it, which I have to work after this, and I think I plan on wearing this blue shirt, so I thought that would be kind of a cool little shift to tie in the blue and the cranberry. Although this looks very, very sheer, I feel like I'm gonna have to really build it up and pack it on. I'm hoping that doesn't cause me to have a bunch of fallout though. I got a pretty substantial amount on my finger. Yeah, it's just pretty sheer. So the fact that they're sheer, most of them, coupled with the fact that they just show up a lot darker on me, it's like they have dark bases to them almost. I don't know, it's just not my favorite formulation. Although this shade is really pretty. I feel like I have this shade in a bunch of other palettes, and if I'm being honest, this is a pretty common shift, I feel like, in a shimmer shade, but it is still really pretty. And it built up nicely. I mean, I had to put like 5 layers on, but that does look pretty. But again, just a little bit darker than I anticipated. Like, I feel like I've like got like a really smoky eye going on right now, which isn't really the vibe I was going for, but it is now. But I will say the good news is, because it is sheer slash thinner of formulation, I actually don't think I'm going to get much fallout from this shade, which I'm happy about. Next up, we're gonna go in with the Tatcha, the Liquid Silk Canvas Primer. This used to be a favorite of mine. Like, I would use it all of the time. And not that I don't like it anymore, I just never really think to reach for it. I don't know why. Maybe it's like how it's placed in my drawer. I can't see it very well. It's kind of hidden, but I still really like this primer. Then for foundation, we're gonna dabble in the Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place Makeup. And this I have the shade 1N0 Porcelain. I'm not gonna lie, this is not my favorite foundation. I know a lot of people love this foundation, but I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't provide me with as much coverage as I was anticipating it providing me when I first picked it up. But I will say, in this foundation's defense, I think when it first launched, because it's been around for a very long time at this point, I think this was one of the most full coverage matte long wearing foundations at the time. I just think since it launched, there's been so many other foundations to come out, better formulations, better shade ranges, you know what I mean? So I just think that like all the good claims about this foundation, no, I don't want to say all, because I know there's probably some people out there who really do love it, but a lot of the good claims of this foundation are just like cult classic claims, like ones that people have made over the years and then they just kind of have stuck. But does that make sense? Like the opinion of it has just been around for a very long time, but I don't know, it's definitely not a favorite of mine. Like I would not consider that full coverage at all, but it's not terrible. You have to let me know down in the comments if this is like one of your favorite foundations. I'm sure there's a million people out there who really do love it, who think it's the best foundation ever, which more power to you. That makes me really happy. I wish I liked it like that. And there's other foundations that I feel like that about. So obviously everyone's different, but yeah, let me know down below. Is this one of your favorites? And I'm like trash talking your favorite and you're like, what are you talking about, Emily? That foundation's amazing. I also feel like it's a little bit drying on me, especially on my nose right here. But okay, we get it. I don't like that foundation very much. We're moving on. Next up for concealer, I'm gonna mix together two. I'm gonna mix together the Dior Forever Skin Correct Concealer in the shade 0N, and then also the Pat McGrath Labs Sublime Fetish Concealer, I think is what it's called. And in this, I have the shade L1. This is a little too dark. This is a little too light. So we're gonna mix them together. I haven't used this combination in a while, but I remember liking it in the past. So let's see if I like it again today. I don't really like either one of these concealers on their own, formulation-wise or shade-wise. But together, like I said, I remember liking them. So, okay, I think that looks pretty decent. It's got definitely some coverage on it. I see a little tiny bit of blue peeking through, but not a ton. And it is a little bit drying, but nothing terrible. There's definitely more dry concealers out there that I own that make my under eyes look more dry. So not a bad combination. Okay, for powders, I am gonna go ahead and apply them off camera for you. Under my eyes, I'm gonna use my Laura Mercier Secret Under Eye Brightening Powder. And then for the rest of my face, since this foundation is looking a bit matte and drying, I'm gonna go ahead and use my e.l.f. Halo Glow Setting Powder on top of it. This will set it down and make it not tacky, but it will leave like a pretty shimmery, not shimmery, I don't wanna scare you like glitter, but just a nice healthy glow to my skin. So be right back. I don't love my base combination right now. I'm not going to lie. I just feel like this foundation does not look good on me. Do you see how like crepey it looks on my nose right here? I don't know. And like my chin, where'd the coverage go? I feel like it disappeared, but I digress. But for bronzer, I chose one that I used to be so obsessed with, and I used it all the time, and I haven't reached for it in forever, and I don't know why. It's the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer in the shade 2 Medium. I have pan in this and everything. Like this is one of my favorite bronzers, or at least it used to be, and I still like it. I just don't really think to reach for it very much anymore, and it's a beautiful bronzer. So we're gonna use it today. I remember a couple summers ago, this was like the only bronzer that I reached for. Like I used it all summer 2021, I think. It's just so, oh yeah. Oh, it's so good. It's pricey, I know. And I would definitely get it on sale if I were you. I got it during the Sephora sale. But if you want to splurge, I really do recommend it. And it's less pricey than the Gucci bronzer, which is the other bougie expensive bronzer I own that I actually really, really love. So maybe get this one over the Gucci one if you are wanting like a high-end bronzer to splurge on. But honestly, you can't go wrong with that one. It's just so smooth on the skin. And I really like this tone. I kind of want to pick up the first shade, like One Fair, I think is what it's called. Because this is 2 Medium and I like it. But it is definitely a lot warmer on my skin, especially right now in the wintertime when I'm very pale. And I feel like the first shade would just be just a really nice light bronzer color. So maybe eventually I'll pick that up. Not that I need it, but oh, this is a good one though. Then for highlight, we're gonna go in with the Catrice More Than Glow highlighter in the shade Supreme Rose Beam. This is pretty blinding, but it's really pretty on the skin. It doesn't really emphasize texture or anything. And I just think, oh yeah, I just think it's a really pretty highlight. I guess it is emphasizing texture a little bit. I think I take that statement back. But then again, it's highlight. I feel like highlight will almost always emphasize texture, and I have texture on my skin, you know what I mean? We all do. Okay, to finish up my lower lash line, I'm just gonna mix together this new mod shade along with this cream shade right here called Preppy, and run it along there. I don't like my lower lash lines to be too dark, so I feel like mixing the two will give me a good combination. And we're gonna go in with good old ColourPop Flexitarian as my inner corner highlight. You guys know. Okay, I'm gonna go do a couple things off camera. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in my brows with my Patrick Ta brow pencil and brow gel. Also, I'm gonna apply some mascara with my Maybelline Sky High tinted primer, mascara primer, and the Benefit Roller Lash. So let me go apply these and I'll be right back. Alrighty, next up for blush, we're gonna go ahead and go in with the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Blush in the shade Mood Exposure. I feel like this always ends up looking a little bit warmer on me than I want it to, but I actually might go with this. I look pretty well. I mean, in the pan, it looks like it'll go perfectly. Oh yeah, it's going well. I know these blushes are kind of pricey, and there's a million blushes at the drugstore that you can get that are so much cheaper than this one. Like, you do not have to go out and splurge on a Hourglass blush, but I do really like this formulation. I have this one and I have a mini one. I've thought about buying more, but like I said, there's just so many that are good at the drugstore. I'm like, do I really need to spend like $40-something on a blush? You know what I mean? But it is really pretty. I will give it that. Then for lipstick, we're just going to go in with this Natasha Denona one in the shade Beatrice. It's like my favorite lipstick from her ever. I think it's so pretty. We're just going to go in. Oh no. Okay, nope. Just kidding. This is way too peachy of a tone for this like berry eye look. Let me wipe this off and pick something else. All right, first we're gonna go in with the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Oh Snap. I'm gonna fill in my whole lips with this. And then I'm gonna go on top with this Sigma Renew Lip Oil in the shade Tint. I actually really like this lip oil. I don't reach for it very often, but it's very pretty on the lips. I feel like it makes your lips look really plump and juicy, and it helps hide the fact that my lips are super chapped all of the time. I don't love this lip with this eye look. I will probably end up changing it before work, but at this point it's the second lip I have gone through, so we are just going to go with it for the rest of the video. Last but not least, for setting spray, I'm going to use the Benefit The Professional Super Setter Setting Spray. And that was it, you guys. That was my full face of nothing new. Just a reminder, as much to myself as I am reminding you guys, to not get sucked into all of the new makeup. You don't need to try everything brand spanking new, to love on the products that you already own in your collection. Not gonna lie, not my favorite makeup look I have ever done. I do think the eye look is pretty, just something about that palette I don't love. And then my base, for the last time, I don't love that foundation, and then again the lip combination, but I'm gonna change that. But overall, I mean, it's not a terrible makeup look, just not my favorite ever. But let me know down below in the comments, what are some makeup products that you are loving on recently that are maybe a little bit older in your collection that you have just been vibing with? Because I would love to hear from you guys down below in the comments. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much, you're awesome and I love you. Please subscribe if you have not yet, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye guys.